Hello, welcome to the American Business Podcast. I'm Kevin Deveji, your host. I'm welcoming you today, episode 55. We are having more and more episodes. I'm very excited to have you today in today's episode session. We have a great guest today, and we'll talk about various subjects about business, sustainability, and small businesses in general. Let's welcome our guest and get the conversation started and let's learn from our expert today. Hello, David. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you. Great to be here.
Thank you very much for being with us in your busy schedule.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
How is the week going so far?
Good. Keeping busy, which is great, and dealing with the heat we're having in the Northeast. But it's been a great week. How about you?
Yeah, so far so good. It's a busy week for me as well.
Good.
Things on the business side as well as on the podcast side, keeping me busy. But so far so good. I'm enjoying the summer.
Great. Yes, it's been a great summer.
That's for sure. Thank you very much again. Well, if that's okay, we can get started. As a start for our audience to know about you and your company, would you please introduce yourself and your organization?
Yes. So I'm David Faverio. I'm the president of Pupfish Sustainability Solutions. We are an e-recycling and certified data destruction company. Our data destruction methods are NAAA certified through iSigma, which certifies our adherence to the highest security and ethical standards in the information destruction business. We operate on a zero landfill policy, which ensures that all devices are either 100% recycled, repurposed, and when they're recycled back into the American manufacturing stream, never going overseas. In 2021, Pupfish Sustainability received our certified B Corporation, and we're proud to use business as a force for local and global good.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Well, David, would you please tell us how did you choose your current career?
Well, it's been a long and winding road, right? Sustainability, computers, and data destruction were not even a thing when I graduated college. When I started my career, I started in commercial lending with Citibank, which was great for me, right? I got to see and analyze lots of different companies, what they did right, what they did wrong, and I learned a lot. Spent 5.5 years in commercial lending, and then I became the CFO of my dad's company, which is a manufacturer of satellite communications equipment. I did that for 13 plus years. So the company eventually grew to over 600 people, and I was involved in all aspects of the company. So I implemented an ERP system, which basically took 20 plus departments, their individual department systems, and integrated into one umbrella system. We acquired a company in Bolingbrook, Illinois. We acquired and renovated over 300,000 square feet of facilities. And we survived the dot-com crash. So there was a lot of learning throughout that process and along the way. After that, I moved around a bit. And I got to the point where I got tired of working for people. So I decided I wanted to start my own company. I found some great people to start it with. And we decided we wanted to do something to help the environment, starting here on Long Island, because that's where we all live, work, and play. And I actually tried to acquire a company that did something similar to what we're doing now, and the deal fell through at the end. But I realized I had a lot better ideas than what that company was doing, and I could enter this industry without competing head to head. And we really focused our attention on data destruction because that's such an important aspect of the whole e-recycling business. So yeah, it all started with wanting to do right by Long Island and the environment.
Yeah, this is really exciting. When you think about your day-to-day work, every day, what are the exciting and challenging parts of your work on daily basis?
Well, besides picking up a lot of heavy equipment, which is something that we do all day long, the exciting part is helping the environment. Obviously, that's what we started the business for. And also helping companies protect their data and the personal private information of their employees, their customers, their vendors, students, teachers, administrators. There's a lot of people whose data would otherwise be out there exposed to some bad actors, and we're able to help them. We know that data online is always under attack, and companies take a lot of steps to protect that data, although there is really no way to fully protect that data, right? You could come up with the best system today, hackers come up with a new way to hack tomorrow, and you've got to adapt. And then when companies pull their data offline, it's still at risk, right? We call it data at rest. And data at rest is data at risk because a device sitting in a cubicle or a warehouse or a closet can still walk out the door. And really, that data is only gone, and that liability for the company protecting that data is gone when the data is permanently destroyed. So that's what we thrive on. We accept the challenge of making sure that no device gets out of this building with an ounce of data on it.
When you work with different organizations, I know you work with small companies as well as large organizations, institutions. So you have clients in different sizes, in different verticals and industries. So when you think about it, and when you especially work with small businesses, how do you see small businesses in general? What type of challenges do you think small businesses are having nowadays in the US?
So, I think for small businesses, owning a business, and specifically small businesses, it's always a struggle, right? At first, there's the infrastructure you have to build when you're starting a business. And, you might have a great idea like a data destruction company, and you're not thinking about the fact that you have to set up an accounting department, an accounting system, an HR department. You have all kinds of legal things to worry about. And, we're not lawyers. Most of us are not lawyers. You have to worry about doing a website, and are you creative enough? Do you have to bring somebody in, hiring, who are you going to bring in? And then you have to go about the process of doing business and writing all your procedures. So that certainly is a challenge to a small business, especially one that's starting up. That's quickly followed by access to capital. And getting enough funding to start your business and fund yourself through the first few months or years until you've got the business running the way it should be. And most businesses fail because they run out of capital. They underestimate the amount of capital and reserve they'll need to run that business through the ups and the downs. In a small business, it's a lot of downs in the first few years, but you work your way through it. On top of that, you've got government regulations, you've got certifications, and it's a lot of added cost and time. When I look at Pupfish and what we have to go through between the New York State DEC and our certification for our NAID and our B Corp, it's a lot of time and effort to respond to those requests and those certifications. When you really should be focusing on doing your business, and you have to make sure you build in enough time to do that. And then it's a matter of generating enough revenue and maybe finding that one or two big customers that can really support your business and help you pay your bills. And on top of that, you have hiring, right? Hiring's certainly an issue these days, finding, good people to work in your organization and help you thrive.
Yes, and you're in the field of sustainability. Just for our audience to get some more insight, why it is important sustainability for businesses in general, and especially for organizations that they need to recycle some of their used materials and items. Uh, uh, what do you suggest in terms of best practices that they should follow?
Well, first of all, typically our biggest competitor is the dumpster. There's a lot of companies that will just throw these devices in the garbage. Recycling is so important. We deal with all kinds of statistics. And what we understand is that, the landfills in the United States are comprised 2% of electronics, but those 2% make up 70% of the toxins coming out of those landfills. So there's a lot of toxic materials that are affecting, especially here on Long Island, where everything goes down into our groundwater. It really affects the environment and the people around it. And companies have so much of this electronics. And in the US, we only recycle about 15% of our electronics. and 100% of our electronics are recyclable. So there really is a long way for us to go in terms of recycling. And again, companies make up a bulk of that, and they can really lead the way in terms of helping the environment and doing the right thing.
I like to shift our conversation towards AI a little bit.
Okay.
So, what do you think about AI and the impact of AI on businesses, on life in general?
Yeah, so AI, right? That's a hot topic these days. Everybody wants to
Very,
hear
yes.
about it, know about it. And I think AI affects different companies and different industries differently. And it also, I'm old enough where I can say it almost reminds me to the days where the internet was becoming popular, right? It was kind of the new thing. Some companies jumped in right away for better or for worse, and others took a more measured approach. And I think we're kind of seeing that right now. Some companies, some people are hopping in and really using it and getting to learn it and understand it. And others are maybe, dipping a toe in and want to see how things will go. Eventually, we all got there, right? And I think the same thing's going to happen with AI. Eventually, we'll all get there, and we'll all use it. And like the internet, which had a huge positive impact on us, I think AI will do the same thing. But the internet also has some negative aspects to it. And I think AI has the potential for that. And I think it's important that, we use AI the right way and for good. And my understanding is there are a lot of students now in high schools that are starting to learn about AI and how to use it properly and responsibly. And I think that's an important lesson for our younger generation to bring forward to us as we all try and learn about AI. I know from Pupfish's point of view, you think, what can a recycling company, a small company like Pupfish, use AI for? And we actually use it to do a lot of our procedures and our analysis and research. One instance is, as part of our reporting, we will report how many pounds of equipment a company recycles with us. So if they want to use that information, they can, post it and, show that they're good stewards for the environment. One thing we always wanted to do was to include the amount of greenhouse gases they were saving, but that was a difficult number to find. There's so many variations of computers and hard drives and servers and printers and monitors. It was hard to do that research, but with AI, we can go on there and they give us a nice little range, of what a typical computer will look like. And we can choose something right in the middle, and it allows us at least to give the company some additional information on the positive impact they're having on the environment and on society by recycling things the right way.
Do you think AI will replace humans and their jobs?
Yes, I think it will. It's going to certainly shift how we do business, and that will shift how we need people to do business. So it will probably replace jobs, almost definitely. The challenge there is to retrain the workers into jobs that are understaffed and that we need help with currently, and train them into jobs that will be created by AI. As I mentioned, when I started my career, e-recycling and data destruction were not even a thing. But as technology advanced, it became a thing, and it may have knocked out some jobs by using computers and the internet, but we were able to start a whole new industry in the e-recycling. So I think AI will do something similar. And again, I hope that we're able to, use it for good, positive reasons.
Well, I like to talk about your role models a little bit, if I may. Do you have any role models? Have you had any role models that you can share with us, with our audience and listeners?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a number of them, right? I've worked basically my whole life. I've always liked to work, and there were people who have guided my growth and, my career and personal growth. But I really need to point to my dad as my main role model. He ran a business. He owned a business which became a large business. And the key takeaway I took from him was that he ran his company with integrity in all aspects. Um, Customer needs always came first with him. No matter what the customer needed, he did it. And I was his CFO, and I can remember sitting in his office once, and he always had a direct line to his desk. If his customers needed them, they could go directly to his desk. So I'm sitting there, and he got a call from a customer, and he starts talking technically about different satellite communications equipment that the client needed, and the client was ready to place like a $700,000 or $800,000 order for some equipment. And as my dad started to ask him questions, he started to give him other suggestions, and it turned out to be like $100,000 order. And when he hung up, I was like, "Dad, you realize I'm your CFO. You just gave away $600,000 or $700,000." And his attitude was, "You know what? That doesn't matter. The customer is getting what they need at a better price, and they'll be back and they'll place another larger order sometime in the future." So that's something that I remember to this day. I can remember sitting in his office, and it had to be almost 25 years ago. One thing he also instilled in me is always learn and innovate. He was an engineer by heart. He happened to be one of those great engineers that was also a great business person, which is sometimes a tough thing, to put both sides of those brains together and come up with that. So I kind of live by that too. We're a recycling and data destruction company, and some people just think we're going in there, we're picking up the old junk, and we're getting rid of it. But I maintain relationships with companies like Argonne National Labs. I've had conversations with them on end of life batteries and what to do with them. We've talked about how to convert plastics to lubricants. Granted, I'm not a chemical person, and sometimes they leave me behind. But just learning about that stuff. And then, they've included me in studies about secondary markets for recycling. I've met a company called Mint, which is out of New Zealand, and they've come up with a new way to process the precious and heavy metals off of PC boards, using a biomass instead of caustic chemicals and high heat. And I'm working with them, and in 2026, I'm hoping to be able to offer that option, because that's when their U.S. plant will be up and running, and it will be an additional way to better the environment. And it's something as simple as this week, I got to head up to Connecticut to see Soriano Motori. They have this new Super Sport EV motorcycle, which is a racing motorcycle, but it is an electric powered vehicle. And it was great just to see and talk to the engineers who have developed this technology and how they're using these sustainable methods to even be used in something as technological advance as this new motorcycle that they just unveiled. So I just want to circle all this back to my dad. The name pupfish. A pupfish is a small fish which lives in the desert in Salt Creek, in this case, in Death Valley, and it lives under the most adverse conditions. The salinity of the water is 4 times that of the ocean. In the summer, the creek dries up almost completely, and they have to bury themselves in the mud just to survive. And what's killing them off right now is we're polluting their environment and tapping off their water out in Nevada. So it really fits our sustainability aspect. But back to my dad, for some reason, he used to go out to the electronics show in Las Vegas every year. And then him and my mom would hike in the desert. And for some reason, he found this Salt Creek pupfish, and he loved it. He absolutely loved its story. He loved to watch it swim in the creek. And he brought his entire family out there multiple times, and our first stop was always to see the Salt Creek pupfish.
Mhm.
So again, there's a picture on our wall as you walk in the door of my dad leading his family along the boardwalk at Salt Creek, because every day when everybody walks in, we want them to remember how he ran his businesses with integrity, customer service, innovation, and learning. So we kind of shaped our whole company around that role model.
Mhm. Yes, I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing this with us. You have decades of professional experience. Can you share some key career lessons with us, with our audience?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll try. I would say the first thing is, you've got to surround yourself with good quality people with integrity. When you look at the people I'm working with now, I've worked with Nancy at the last two jobs, Jackie at the last job, and I couldn't ask for better partners, teammates, workers. We were talking today how we all know how each other's thinking, and we're always doing the right thing for the client and to make sure we're doing the job the right way. You have to have passion for what you do. If there's no passion, your clients will know it, and they will, not appreciate what you're doing. It's hard to say we're passionate about data destruction in the environment, but we are. It's funny how we are, and I'll sometimes sit at my desk and listen to the conversations, and how the passion comes through and what they're trying to do and how they're doing it. I think you have to always lead with helping others. That's what we try to do. We're always looking to build relationships and help others. And I guess, that comes in with leading, keep learning, and always meet new and different people. I show up at these events sometimes and I talk to people who I would never talk to, or I wouldn't think I would talk to if I met them on a street or a grocery line, and they're so interesting and I get to learn so much from them. So, it's a matter of keeping that open mind and meeting those new people.
Do you have any passions, interests outside of work?
Yeah, I mean, besides pupfish, certainly I have a few of them. I tend to get passionate about what I'm doing, but the ones that I've been doing for the longest, there are probably two right now, which is beekeeping. That's all part of the sustainability aspect of the environment. Years ago, I read how the bees were disappearing and how important they are for the world. And I decided I wanted to get a few hives in my backyard and take care of them and try and, help better our environment. And I've been doing that for a number of years. And the other, which, some people know about because I like to talk about it, is paddling. I love to kayak. I love to be out on the water. So that's really my second one.
Mhm. Yeah, this is really exciting. Well, in your busy schedule, especially when the work is challenging and stressful sometimes, because it's not easy. You are running a business at the end of the day. How do you stay motivated and inspired?
It's hard to say. People ask me, what keeps you going, and I guess I'm just the person that likes a challenge, and I like to problem solve, and that's really, what the day is. You get a new device in that you've never seen before. You want to learn about it, make sure that you're destroying data the right way. Um, it's just a matter of trying to accomplish different things. You know, it's it's a tough question. It's a tough question for me because I'm naturally just drawn to, just trying to compete and get things done the best way possible. I love to improve things. Pupfish has gone through thousands of small changes to get to from where we started to where we are now. And again, I guess that comes down to a challenge. And we often talk about, when we first started Pupfish, pushing things around on tiny metal carts to now we're moving things around with pallets and pallet jacks. And, just how many times we had to change the facility just to accommodate all of those changes. So, yeah, it's really the start to finish of, we want to help the environment, we want to destroy data, and what's the best way to do that? And I guess that's what keeps me going.
Well, for those who likes to get into the sustainability business, do you have any career advice for them?
I would say, and it kind of goes back to lessons learned. Understand what you're getting into. It's certainly not a glamorous building. I'm sitting here in a shirt and a jacket right now. Most days I'm in a t-shirt, a pair of jeans, and some steel toe boots because I've dropped a ton of UPS devices on my toes, and it really hurts. It's a really dirty physical business, but we love to do that. things are always changing. So make sure you're flexible enough to keep up with those changes, to make things better and to improve things where you can, stay adaptable, never stop learning. That's kind of what we try and do now by meeting all these cutting edge technology companies. We're not willing to just sit back and do what's happening today. We want to look at what's better for tomorrow. I have to think that the way this industry is changing, it's going to change quite a bit. I think there's so much room for improvement. And, I'll get involved in things like Career Day and speaking to students, because let's face it, I'm older now. At some point my career is going to end, but I'm hoping if I can inspire one or two or three young, bright minds to get as passionate about data destruction and recycling as we are here at Pupfish, that they will take the current knowledge and technology and use that to make the improvements we need to really get this industry to where it needs to be.
For those who likes to be in touch with you, continue this conversation, maybe learn more about your organization, what is the best way that they can contact you?
They can always call us at 631-403-1100, or they can just send us an email through our website. The best way is info@pupfishusa.com. That will hit everybody's mailbox, and we will certainly get back to people.
David, thank you so much for being with us in your busy schedule.
Yes, thank you for having me. It was great to talk to you again, Kevin.
Yes, pleasure is all mine. It's always a pleasure talking to you, chatting with you, and learning from your insights. Truly appreciate it. I wish you a great weekend.
Thank you. You too. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thank you so much.
Great.
Well, to our audience and to our listeners, we had another great episode together. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. That's for sure. That was a great conversation to have it with David and learn about his insights and business experience and wisdom, I must say. So that was really good. I hope you liked it. Well, I gotta also make some announcements. Well, first of all, we just won actually the YouTube Silver Award. Now the American Business Podcast is a YouTube Silver Award winner podcast. We are growing fast with your help and support. So I truly appreciate your support, and we'll keep streaming every week, just like we have been doing in last 4 months. And with this speed and growth, we are planning to be the biggest business podcast in the US and globally. That's our goal. That's why we keep working every day hard, and we bring great guests to help them share their business wisdom and insights. That is our goal. So we'll keep going, and we'll keep bringing you these knowledgeable guests every week. If you haven't done so, please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. We have our code right here on my website, and you can scan the QR code. It'll take you to our YouTube page. You can subscribe. If you haven't done so, please share, like, and also engage with us. This is a business community. The American Business Podcast is a business community. We share informative and educational content. That is why we bring every week informative, knowledgeable, experienced conversations to you on weekly basis, and we'll continue doing so. Would you like to be a guest in our podcast? Do you know someone who likes to be a guest? You can send us an email, americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. If you like to advertise, sponsor the American Business Podcast, you can also send us an email. We keep getting new advertisers and sponsors. We truly appreciate this support. If you like to promote your business, your products, services, your offering, your offers, please send us an email. We are open for this conversation. We have right now thousands of subscribers, business-minded subscribers, and it's a great venue for advertising, sponsorship, and product placement. americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com is our email address, and we are very responsive. If you send us an email, we'll reply your email as soon as possible. Also, if you have any feedback, would you like to see certain subjects to be covered in our podcast? Would you like to see certain experts in our podcast, please share your feedback with us, americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. If you also visit our website, we have a updated website, americanpodcast.tv. You can learn more about our podcast, American Business Podcast, about our team. Also, we publish coming podcast schedule every week. When you log into the page, you'll see it and you'll have a chance to learn about who is coming and what we will be talking about. On August 27th, we have a business networking event. That's an online networking event that you can connect from anywhere. We're gonna have only 10 business professionals. This event will be streamed live on the American Business Podcast. So these attendees will be in front of thousands of the American Business Podcast YouTube followers and subscribers. You can join us. You can register by scanning the QR code on the screen. You can introduce yourself, your business, your services, your offers with our audience. And it's scheduled for August 22nd, 2025 at 10 a.m. Eastern Time Zone. And it's going to be live on the American Business Podcast. I'll also read out for some of our sponsors before I end the podcast. Well, if you are in the ERP software market and if you are looking to implement SAP ERP software, Oracle ERP software, and Microsoft Business Central ERP software, you can connect iTech Inc., iTech Consulting Inc. They are experts in ERP implementations, especially SAP, Oracle, and Microsoft Business Central. They have their own teams to implement these complex business software systems. And I have a QR code that you can scan and you can learn more about iTech Consulting, and you can contact them if you're interested in ERP implementation for your company. If you are in the market for a VPN, we recommend IPVanish VPN. I also use IPVanish. It's a solid system, and if you are in need of VPN software system, you can scan this QR code. You can learn about the product, and if you're interested, you can also subscribe to their services. Well, looks like that's all for this episode. I'd like to thank you for your time and thank you for your interest. I'm looking forward to having you in the coming The American Business Podcast episodes. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.